Hello, this is the Watchdog, and welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to review the Cissden 105. Start out with the wrist check. I just finished my morning workout, so I'm still wearing my Timex Ironman. This is my preferred workout watch now. I like it more than my G-Shock because it's just more comfortable. And Grogu's wearing my Liege 8989 Navitimer homage. He wants to know if it tracks parsecs, and I had to remind him that parsecs are distance, not time. I asked Grogu if the destruction of the Darksaber was a fly in the ointment on the resettling of Mandalore. He said he sure hopes so. Flies attract frogs, and he's all out of eggs. Alright, let's take a look at the watch. Comes in this box, a very Benyar looking box, huh? And then we have the unsigned warranty card, instructions, little bitty baby cleaning cloth. And the watch. Here it is. Not a bad looking watch for a sub $20 sub. This is the first Cissden on my channel. I had never heard of the brand, so when I saw this sub $20 sub, I felt obligated to review it because I am probably the only channel that will. Considering the price, it isn't a bad watch and has a few pleasant surprises. Of course, at 30 meters water resistance, this is strictly a dive style watch that you won't even want to swim with. You're never going to own a real Smurf sub anyway, since they're only in white gold, so it makes an already expensive watch ludicrously expensive. There are 6 colorways, black, green, and blue with matching bezels. Then we have a white dial with black bezel. Then we have black dials with blue or green bezels. The watch is 41.3 millimeters at the bezel, and the bezel does overhang the case just a little bit. 47.3 millimeters lug to lug, and it has protruding end links. Has a 20 millimeter lug width, and weighs 117 grams on the supplied bracelet with one link removed. And it's 11.6 millimeters thick if you don't count the cyclops, and I never do. The bezel has an aluminum insert and nothing's engraved. And the bezel action's pretty mushy. And it's kind of stiff, which I guess is better to be a little stiff than too light, because at least it doesn't get knocked out of place. And oh yeah, it's a 60 click too, not 120, which is fine, because you're never going to use this bezel anyway, other than to maybe time your mac and cheese. You're not going to use this for an actual diving watch. And then we have the dial. The dial is pretty nice. I like the dial. It's a good color of blue. It has a slight purple tint, but not overbearing purple, just barely. And then a nice sunburst effect. So yeah, I like the dial. Then we have the Cissden name up top. I don't think Cissden has... Oh yeah, Cissden does have a logo, but they didn't put it on the dial. And then it says Quartz on the bottom. No mention of water resistance. That means it only has 30. Then we have the Rolex style indices with batons at the 6 and the 9, and a triangle at the 12, and dots everywhere else. And these are applied and loomed. And then we have the Rolex style hands with the Mercedes hour hand and the pencil minute hand or fence post minute hand. Then we have the second hand with a lollipop and a counterbalance. Then we have a date at the 3 with a cyclops, and as you can see, the cyclops is kind of a joke. It barely magnifies, maybe 0.5 at the most. So whatever your controversy is about cyclops, some people like them, some people hate them. But if you're going to have a cyclops, have a cyclops. And this one is really substandard. Then the crown is an unsigned push-pull. Once again, Cissden does have a logo. This is their logo. So it would have been nice if they would have put it on the crown. But then again, this is a sub $20 watch. And it's a push-pull because you only get 30. The action is loose, but when you go to press it in, what you need to do is you just need to hold it when you press it in, and sometimes you don't get the jump. But if you just press it willy-nilly, then you're almost guaranteed to get a jump. So just make sure you hold the crown in place when you push it in, and then it might move slightly, but not enough to be annoying. Then we have a flat mineral glass crystal. The case back says it's sapphire. Well, the case back is lying because I tested it and it is not sapphire. But then again, this is a sub $20 watch. I wasn't expecting sapphire. And I don't know if it mentions sapphire on the AliExpress ad. It just says it on the case back though. Then the case is a chrome-plated alloy. You're not going to get solid steel at this price, but it's a nice case. It's shaped right, and the lug-to-lug is not too bad for a 41mm watch. Then the crown guards are pretty substantial. They almost go to the edge of the crown. You're never going to knock this crown out of place. Then we have a press-on case back, because once again, you only get 30 meters. It just says water resistant. Then it says ATM with no number. I guess that's another way of just saying water resistant. And once again, it says sapphire crystal. That's a bold-faced lie. Then it says quartz, and that's not a lie. And then it gives you the model number. I guess it says FY105. The AliExpress ad just said 105, so close enough. Then underneath is a quartz movement, and I'm sure it's Chinese. I didn't want to remove the case back and look, and because more than likely on those cheaper ones you can't see anyway. Then the bracelet is the big surprise of this watch. It is a solid link bracelet, not hollow and not rolled. And it has solid end links too, which is nice. So, yeah, I like the bracelet. It does have push pin adjusters, and that's fine with me. I prefer push pins over screw pins anyway. Unfortunately, though, this nice bracelet is ruined by this really bad clasp. This is that one, that side push one that you see on a lot of really cheap watches. With this pressed clasp, and it's pressed outer. And the problem with these side push ones, too, not only are they kind of ugly, the mechanism takes up all the room in the clasp, so you only get 2 holes of micro adjust. And so yeah, the watch like this needs 3 or 4 holes. So if you do get this watch, because I don't think it's a bad watch for the money, just the clasp is awful, so you're going to want to get a clasp. So if you're going to order one, though, it looks like you need a 16mm clasp. So yeah, do yourself a favor and order one. Here's the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. It's a nice looking watch for the money. Yeah, it doesn't look like the real thing, obviously, but it does look nice. The only thing, like I said, is the cyclops. The cyclops really, it just kind of throws everything off because it makes the date look so tiny. It'd be much better without a cyclops, or an actual cyclops that did a decent amount of magnification. But other than that, it wears on the wrist nice, has a good wrist roll. But I only removed 1 link, so 7 3/4 is about the best you're going to do without some extra links. Here we are in the loom room. A sub $20 sub is not going to have good loom, but let's see if we have at least decent loom. As we speed up the time, we see that the index loom is indeed decent, but it is the hands that matter, and they are already gone, as well as the loom pip. It does no good to see the indices if you can't see the hands. What do I like about this watch? Well, it looks and wears nice. And I like the sunburst style. And I like the fact that it has a solid link bracelet with solid end links. What are my gripes and groans? The clasp. It's that really cheap, really bad one. I don't like it at all. Plus, it misses a lot too when you go to close it. The cyclops barely magnifies at all. And also, the watch says sapphire on the case back when the crystal is not sapphire. And the hand loom isn't near as good as the index loom. which is bad. It should be the opposite. Do I recommend this watch? Yeah, it's really not a bad sub-homage considering the price. But just, yeah, if you like this watch and if you want to get it, get a new clasp. They don't cost very much. And it will really improve this thing. Well, thank you for watching my review of the Cissden 105, homage to the Rolex Submariner. And I will be back with another review. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel. Bye.